Welcome into the Pats Nation. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe's with us in the booth. You are watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast. Anywhere you podcast, you can catch us. And make sure when you're on YouTube, subscribe, give us that thumbs up, like the show. That's what we're looking for. Last week we had our live post-game show and pre-game show. I thought it went pretty well.
Guys. I thought it went well. Yeah, we had fun. We hadn't done that in a few years.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun hearing from you people out there. And when you're doing that, we want to make sure we hear from you. In Heated Hotline, 855-313-PATS, PATS. It's a message line. Leave a message 24/7. Joe will pick one, perhaps, play it on the show, or you can email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. Hey, we got a good one today for the Steelers game. We're going to preview the game here. We got a QB breakdown and Drake Mania. We're going to talk quarterbacks. And in Pat's preview, we're going to talk our offensive and defensive keys to victory for this one. And we're going to go into Sunday spread, see if we can make you a few bucks. I don't know how you did last week, Mark, but
listen, we did all right last week, I thought.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that. So, gentlemen, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So, how you guys feeling coming off that Dolphins win last week and everything?
Right? We're gonna be happy about that. Listen, you and I know we were in our preseason picks. We picked Miami, so we were both wrong with that.
We were both wrong.
I think I gotta swap all of my picks to the opposite, and then they'll carry through.
It's too late. Too late. They're all stone. That's it. Can't change anything now. But coming off that win, I know. If you listen to the post game, it sounded like we lost the damn game. But I mean, the way. But listen, we got to break down some of the faults and things that maybe don't repeat themselves in today's game against the Steelers. But let's begin by talking about quarterbacks. Okay, and we're going to do that. We're talking about Drake Maye. We're going to do it in Drake Mania. We're going to do it right now. That's what that sounds. You know what it sounds like. Tell me what you think that little sound he's playing sounds to me. Sounds to me like the A-Team, like the remember the old show, the TV show in the 80s.
Yes, I do.
You remember that?
Mr. T, right, George, right? Yeah.
I was going with that for the coach's corner, so just bear with me. That one might come up.
Okay. All right. So
it went that sort of route.
All right, Mark. So he had a good week last week, obviously. Against the Dolphins, played really well. We were real complimentary of him in that game. Now, talking about coming into the Steelers game. Now, come back at home. Want to build from this. I think we had a chat in last week. Talked about going to get going now. It's going to get going.
We did, and I think we also had a call in from, was it Steve? Who said that, progress. He thought we made progress last week.
Progress.
We're going to have to build on that progress this week. If we take Steve with what he said last week to us,
so
on the live post game.
Given what the Steelers bring to the table, do you think Drake Maye can have a repeat performance? Can he play as well against this defense that he did against Miami? And listen, let's not. There were a lot of penalties in that game for the Patriots on offense. There was a lot to overcome.
12 overall, right?
Right. And a lot of that was on special teams and offense. So what's he going to need to do today for a repeat performance?
Listen, I know Pittsburgh got killed last week, but they have a good defense. They got Watt. TJ Watt's going to come off the edge, right? So, Chris, I think it's going to have to be similar. The way New England won last week is going to have to be their formula all year, just because of the limitations they have on the offensive side of the ball. What do I mean by that? They're going to have to run the football. They're going to have to show balance, okay? You're going to have to mix it up between Stevenson, Henderson, Gibson, and you're going to have to get Drake comfortable. Again, rolling out, doing things that play to his strength. Let him do some rollouts. If he sees a crease and he thinks he can pick up yardage, let him go. Don't tell him, oh, no, don't do that because you're going to get yourself injured. Let him be him, as you said last week and the week before, Chris. Let him be him to get comfortable, because that's going to be the only recipe this team has, Chris. offensively to be competitive from week to week because they don't have the offensive skill set play, right? They don't have the players. They don't have a Malik Neighbors or a Chase or a Jefferson. They don't have those guys. So you're going to have to you're going to have to balance, run, pass, some screens, some bubble screens, real routes, tight ends, working in wide receivers. You're going to have to execute a variety of things because the offense just isn't explosive.
And what I'd love to be able to hear again this week on the field is this.
Patriots quarterback Drake Maye, what a thriller of a game. You really turned up the heat, throwing for 230 yards. Ramondre Stevenson had an impressive game. How did you like your distribution and balance today?
Yeah, this ultimate team win. What a stop by the defense multiple times. We got in the ball on offense. We got to do our part. But full three-way game. Offense, defense, special teams. All played a part. It feels good to get a win.
How about Antonio Gibson with that 90-yard kick return touchdown, and then Andy Borregales with a 53-yard field goal.
Maybe Borregales.
Yeah, just bouncing back from adversity. AG had one. He had one on the 2-yard line where he stepped out of bounds. Then he comes back and returned one to the house. Andy missed one early and a few extra points. They came back and kicked it. It's just battling. Just saying screw it, go win, and it feels good.
Your defense came up also really big with 5 sacks today, a couple down the stretch, and a huge interception. How much do they make your job easy?
Yeah, I used to get every day practice in training camp. Glad to see it's happened to somebody else, and those guys play hard, and they're great players up front.
That's what we want to hear from Drake Maye every week. All that amped up, fired up after the game and talking about complimenting about his team. Mark, this is the Steelers team that allowed 395 total yards of offense. We'll get to the offensive breakdown in a minute. But passing-wise, they allowed 278 yards passing from who the hell's the quarterback over there? O'Donnell?
O'Donnell, O'Donnell. Yeah, in Seattle,
Yeah.
O'Donnell, yeah.
So, Darnold, I mean.
Donald.
That's what I'm talking about. Sam Darnold. 278 yards total passing was allowed. So, I mean, this is a Steelers team that if they're not getting pressure, okay, and you can control the pressure, and I don't know how many sacks they had last week. I think they had 3, I want to say 2 or 3 sacks on Donald. But if you control the pressure, this is a team that's going to give up some plays. They're going to give up.
They are going to give up plays. They are.
And so I think today I'd like to see a little bit more. I'd like to see Maye. His comfort zone is Hunter Henry and Hooper. I mean, that's who he wants to find. He looks to them every single.
Is that who he wants to find, or is that who he has to find because nobody else can get separation and get open?
I don't know. I mean,
Chris, our receivers had 62 yards last week.
Well, we're going to talk about that when we get to the next segment. We're talking in our offense. He's dying to destroy Pop Douglas. He's dying to do it, Joe.
But I'm going to say this to you. I'm going to say this to you. You mentioned Donald threw for 278. You said last week
278. Yeah.
But over 100 yards of that was one guy. Smith Najiba had like 104 yards receiving. So
I'll give you his numbers.
No. But so,
8 receptions, 103 yards.
Yeah. Pittsburgh, he's got like 250 in 2 games. But anyway, besides that, I got to throw that in. But listen, besides that,
where's the guy we took in that draft?
He's on the bench, Idget. Well, listen, besides that, Chris, we don't have that kind of a player on our roster. So that could be a little deceiving. Pittsburgh gave up 278 passing, but over 100 was to a real number 1 receiver, right? Which we don't have a real number 1. So I'll throw that out there too. As we talk about this game, I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. So again, I think if you could protect Maye, and which we'll talk about in a minute, I think he can eat against this team. I really do. And I also like this is a particular week where I'm looking at
Chris, I think you can exploit the middle of the field.
Yeah, and I'm thinking getting Henderson involved more. Maye looking to get Henderson more involved. Last week Henderson only had 5 touches or whatever, but as it relates to, because this is Drake Mania, this segment, as it relates to Maye, I think his eyes need to go to the backs a little bit more today. I think when they go to the backs and that happens, we're in good shape.
Yes.
And I think he will be. But again, all goes back to his comfortability. Okay. Last week he was comfortable. He was poised. He looked confident. And last week we said, when he played against the Raiders, there was no confidence at all. He looked uncomfortable. And it was the comfortable. He looked uncomfortable. Well, in the Miami game, he looked very comfortable. And why was that? And he was decisive. He understood where he was going with the ball. And when he didn't have something, he didn't force anything. He was mobile in the pocket, shifted around. But that didn't happen, in my opinion, until he got his feet wet a little running the ball. Got out of the pocket a little, ran for 8 yards here, 10 yards here, and then it looked like he calmed down. So maybe that's what this guy needs.
Well, you said that leading into in our preview of that Miami game. You said they got to let Drake be Drake. Let him do the things that he does to get him comfortable. You can't, tell him you can't do this, you can't do that. What he does, let him do it and get him comfortable. And that happened last week, Chris. And you had mentioned that that's what they had to do leading into that game last week. And McDaniels did a good job, Chris, of designing some play calls that allowed that to happen last week. So
yeah.
And he did a good job, Chris, of moving around.
Oh yeah,
pocket last week.
Yeah, he did. He shifted around in the pocket pretty well to wait for that extra second, that extra beat for his guy to come open. Those crossers, a lot of those middle routes, those intermediate routes sometimes they take a little time to come open, especially with this group. And he allowed himself time to do that. And let's not forget, he rushed last week for 31 yards and 1 touchdown. And you and I talked about this. I think that's got to be part of the game again today. When they get down in the red zone, that read option stuff, the run pass option down there, allow him to use his legs to get into the end zone because he can. Yeah. And that's just, again, I know the thought was always, I loved what a couple of weeks ago or last week, what Chris Casper said. Okay. What's he with the Globe? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And he said, you got to allow this kid to be an athlete. You got to allow him, whatever makes him comfortable. You can't turn this guy into a robot. He's not Tom Brady. You're not going to have this guy be a computer behind the line of scrimmage and just, breaking everything down, getting everybody in place, all the things Brady did and sit in the pocket and mobility with it. That's not where he is.
No.
And last week showed you that's just not, it's still not where he is. It's not like he sat there and just surveyed the field.
He may never be there. Like how many guys?
Not many.
There?
Yeah,
come on.
You are. I want to say this though. One of the major steps is actually seeing Vrabel and McDaniels them look comfortable with Drake Maye doing what he needs to do and working out what their plays that the McDaniels is setting for him. He's comfortable with Drake Maye working those plays out in his head, doing his thing and figuring it out on his own, and his comfort level in seeing him do that makes Drake Maye comfortable. You know what I mean? So seeing that from them really helps, but nobody talks about that stuff,
No. But I think, your point's made. And then overall, like we talked about, Mark, allow the kid, like I said, everybody a lot of people in the meet, I don't want him running. We want him to be that computer. Listen, guys get themselves going in different ways. And when you limit something that somebody does and you try to get it out of their system so they don't do it, well, that takes away from other parts of the game. If you're human beings, you can't deny that. And I think we saw that against Miami, and I think we're going to hopefully see that again today. And a lot of that is getting the running game going early too, which is what we're going to talk about next, Mark. So. Yeah.
And I want to talk about, as we get more into coaching, Chris, for this coming game, do you think, and save this because I know we're going to get to coaching, do you think Vrabel sat him down this week, McDaniels, and said, hey, you're going to run the goddamn football. I don't care what you think you're seeing out there. Run the ball.
Well, they started the first drive with 3 straight runs. And I think we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it on the other side. But this Drake Mania was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England Field, Saturdays, noon Eastern. Hey, when we come on, we have Catone's comments. We have B's and C's, Yankees, Red Sox. And, of course, we talk a lot of Patriots. So make sure you're tuning into that. But we come back, going to do just what Mock said, talk about the offense, talk about the breakdown. We'll do it in Pat's preview. Stick around.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more
Corso and Get-Tone. Saturdays at noon.
Good plays, and we had some plays we would like to have back. Again, it's a lot of it. As long as the operation is good, there's no perfect play. There's good calls. There's no perfect call. It's about getting it in there. The players understand it, and we've made adjustments to things that they're doing, and then it gives them a chance to succeed. So when we weren't scrambling, I didn't feel at any point in time. You could look at the other side, and they had the delays late in the game. They had different things that backed them up that really helped us. And so our ability to get a call in and keep our composure and be ready to go, and again, just keep making them earn it and get the drive stopped. And eventually that was our big key for us defensively. And we got the drive stop. We got the one stop that we needed to get stopped.
That was Mike Vrabel after last week in Miami, his post game. He was amped up too. And congratulations to Mike Vrabel for his first win. He was
amped up. Good for him.
I don't know if we actually said that on the post game, but yes, congratulations, Mike Vrabel, on his first win. As a Patriot. But yeah, he was
amped up, Chris. He was high fiving. He was greeting every guy when they came into the locker room last week. They show in the post game, you could see it. Just because I think he's he got his first win as the Patriot.
Sure. You got to feel good.
Back with Gibson on that run back. They show him running the sidelines with him.
Yeah.
You got to feel good about it. Obviously, you put a lot into it. This is their whole life, that they put into it. So, but now let's we want to get into some of the breakdown and the key points and the offensive, defensive keys to victory. We want to do it in Pat's preview, and we want to do it now.
Pat's preview.
All right, Mark. So we talked a little bit when we were in Drake Mania. You started to, you're chomping at the bit to get to these points with the wide receivers and the.
No, what? No.
So this game against Pittsburgh today. Looking at the offensive philosophy. Now, you mentioned right before we went to break, you said about running the ball, how Drake May's best friend was going to be a good running game, more balanced in the offensive play calling, which we saw last week, right?
Yes. Yep.
I think it was pretty even. Well, you saw on the first drive, you saw how many runs? I think there was 3-4 in a row. They were running the ball for first downs.
Yep.
And I think that got the offensive line more comfortable. I think it just got the flow of the game going. So finally, you see what I wanted to see against the Raiders, and I didn't see out of Josh McDaniels, which is what we saw from Kevin O'Connell in week 1, was to take a sideways offense that was going off the rails and pull it back. Well, you saw McDaniels from moment 1 in Miami pull them onto whatever rail they wanted to be on. Mm-hmm. And I think that really, really, really helped. Is that what they need to do today?
Yeah, Chris, they're going to have to, again, they're going to have to create balance. Like we said last week, they did it. They're going to have to do it again. They're going to have to create balance, Chris. You can't, you're not going to be able to throw the ball 40-something times like you tried to do against the Raiders this week either. They got TJ Watt coming off the edge. They typically know how to bring pressure. Pittsburgh will blitz more than Miami did. That's just the nature of their defense. I think Pittsburgh has a little better. They've got better corners than Miami. They've got Ramsey, and they've got the kid they drafted from Penn State, Porter's son, the other corner. So they've got corners that can play. So you're gonna have to use balance, establish the run, let Maye roll out some play action. But I do think, Chris, you can expose the middle of the field. I think you can run the ball in between the guards again against this team. And you know what I mean? But you're going to have to use balance, just because if you don't, Pittsburgh will bring pressure. And I think Pittsburgh will disguise pressure a little bit this week. I know Donald threw for 278 yards last week. But again, as I said earlier, he's got a number one elite receiver that we don't have. So he had over 100 yards from one guy.
You're just gonna keep
No,
any chance you get.
No. Other than that, Chris, he only threw for 178, 168. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You just want to highlight Smith to G, but you just want that. You just want to, any chance you get, you want to stick that knife in, don't you?
No.
Because we didn't draft him. I'm ready to trade Gonzalez. Anyway,
that's a whole other story. We'll bring that up on another show. You've been saying that to me all week.
No, you're right. Listen, and in this game too, I think when we talk about the running backs, I'd like to see, Trevion Henderson, his touches need to go up to me. Yeah. He touched the ball, where is it? 5 times, which is, it was 5 times for 40 yards, which isn't terrible percentage in the wise numbers. But you can see the difference when he's,
but you can see, can't you see that he wants to explode? Like he just wants to go. And that's what I like to see about these guys, Somebody want to do that.
I know. And now I understand the whole point. You're taking a running back. See, you're taking a back out of college first year in. Now they're playing 17 games. Okay, where before they play like 12, something like that. So, okay, so you got that happening. Okay. And on top of that, at Ohio State, Henderson wasn't the lead guy. He didn't see all the touches. He didn't see all the touches. So,
No, he split with Judkins.
Right.
At Ohio State.
So I get what they're doing. They're trying to bring him along so that he lasts the whole season. But you got to give him more than 5. Listen, this guy can handle 10, 12 touches a game, and that's what he needs. That's where he needs to be. So in this particular game, when you look at the edge, the rushing and what they got coming off the edge and Watt and all of them, to me, I love to see a little more bubble stuff. I love to see trying to get the ball out to the edges a little bit more. Yeah. I didn't see any wide receiver screens last week. I didn't see really many. They tried a bubble with Stevenson once, little flare.
Where the hell wasn't that what they were supposed to do with Douglas? Where the hell is Douglas?
Yeah, we got to talk about that too, because right now we're just not. So we talk about the receivers in a second, but with the backs, Mark, with Henderson, that's what I want to see out of them today. So I want to see them be able to blow guys off the ball, the offensive line, and get that move the line of scrimmage. Traditional run game. But I would also like to see you get into Henderson's hands on more screenplay passes, more bubble screens, wide, and also get him split out wide. Let's create some mismatches with that guy and get the ball in his hands more. The wide receivers. Now, like you said, Sam Darnold had a big game for Seattle against Pittsburgh, against his defense last week. But you said, like 103 yards or however was thrown to one guy. We don't necessarily have that one guy that can get open that way. But no. Booty's getting open. He's getting open. He's making a lot of plays out there. Now, they only threw the ball to him one time last week, though.
It was a touchdown, but it was only one target. So did they bracket him and make it a point to take him away because they know we're limited? We don't have a lot of receivers? I don't know.
You had Jack Jones recently signed. He was like their best corner last week for the Dolphins. So, I don't know. You're seeing all the passes like you said. You pointed this out in our post-game show that out of the 19 receptions, I think 10 of them were to backs and tight ends. Something like that.
The receivers only had 64 yards receiving last week, Chris. Right. You can't continue like that. So, listen, for them to beat Pittsburgh, they're going to have a balance, Chris. But the receivers are going to have more than 64 yards receiving. If the receivers have another game like last week, they'll lose today. They have to produce more out of the receivers. And I don't know. Everyone thought going into this season, Chris, that McDaniels would utilize Pop Douglas in the slot the way he used to use Edelman and Welker and all those guys. We haven't seen one catch. Yet.
So in 2 games, he's had 3 catches. So in 2 games.
I think today, Chris, for them to beat Pittsburgh, I think Douglas has to have a game. Douglas is going to get 6, 7 catches today, 60, 70, 80 yards, maybe a touchdown. I think they're going to have to utilize Douglas in the slot today, Chris, to win this football game. I really do.
We'll see what happens.
Chisholm.
Yeah. And while we're recording this, the inactives have not dropped.
The inactives have not dropped, so we're not sure.
We don't show if Chisholm's going to be in on the inactive list again. But I haven't seen anything out of Douglas now. I've seen 3 catches for 6 yards, because last week it was -2. Against the Raiders, it was -2. And then against the Dolphins, he had 1 catch for 8 yards. So you're talking 3 catches for 6 yards. That's what you got out of your slot receiver.
He has to show up today, Chris. He has to.
In an offense that spotlights the slot receiver.
That's the thing, Chris. That's the interesting thing. So what the hell's the problem?
I mean, one attempt. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'm seeing in coverages that against that slot guy, but I got to imagine there are times you can get him the ball. But these throws are all going to running backs, tight ends. That's what you're seeing, which is also part of this offense too. It's a staple of this offense as well.
It absolutely
is to get the ball to backs. I mean, if it works, fine. But to Mark's point, the sustainability of it. That's the big thing. You say, well, okay, like the Dolphins last week, that was great. Okay, so what? So Ramondre Stevenson caught 5 catches. He caught 5 passes, and he counted for over 100 yards of total offense. Hooper had 3 catches off 3 targets. Diggs had 4 as the only real productive wide receiver that they had. So what's wrong with that if they're winning? Because it's the sustainability of it. That would be fine if your friggin' tight end was Kittle or Bowers or whatever I'm not going to say that fool's name in Kansas City, but
no,
that would be okay, but not Hunter Henry or Austin Hooper.
No, you're right, Chris. It's the sustainability of what they did last week. Did they duplicate that today and beat Pittsburgh? I kind of doubt it. I think Pittsburgh will take away some of that drop-offs to the running backs. I think their defensive scheme, Chris, will prevent some of that. I think, they may make you have to beat them with the wide receivers.
Because you think that maybe their safeties, their linebackers, they may be up to the task, though, of being able to cover some
listen,
of these
I
guys.
am going to say this to you. Pittsburgh has a better combination of corners than we have faced the last 2 games. They do.
Well, and that doesn't bode well for your wanting the wide receiver to be more involved.
Yeah, but I think they have to be. I just don't, to your point, Chris, I don't know the sustainability. You're going to sustain that another week against Pittsburgh this week? I don't know. Today's going to be a very interesting game, Chris, because we're also playing at home. We don't play well at home. We don't play well at home.
When's the last time we won a home game?
Right? The last game of the season last year, but I don't count.
Oh, that doesn't count.
You
want to talk about that stupid ass game?
Chris, before last week, the last game we won was November 10th of last year. If you don't want to count that last game. So, but today's going to be very interesting.
Last time Rodgers was here, he didn't do so well. So maybe that helped.
The Jets.
Yeah.
Chris, didn't you go to the game the last time Rodgers was here?
No, that was
your
me.
son. Didn't you fly in for that?
That was him.
Oh,
that was Joe.
Joe went. I knew somebody went.
Yeah, that was Joe. Joe took a Jets fan to the game.
Yeah, I did.
You're not getting those tickets again.
Joe.
That's
it.
I
didn't even know that. He took a Jets.
I told you. I told you.
No, you flew in, Chris, when he played for Green Bay.
Green Bay, yeah.
Yes,
so Tom Brady. And that was many years ago.
Many years ago.
So these are the things we think that have to be done right. But again, penalties. You got to cut down on the damn penalties on the offensive line. You got away with it against Miami because they're just as dumb. Okay?
I know you're chomping at the bit for our next session because you're going to talk about defense. You're going to lose your mind.
Well, let's do that then. This portion of Pat's preview was presented by Corso Law Group, corsolawgroup.com. I got nothing more to say then. Stick around.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to corsolawgroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Yeah, we'll have to do better, and we won't be the only team that they get explosive plays against, and we'll just have to continue to be better. I know that. I understand that. But, there were times where we took away those throwing lanes, and there were times that we certainly didn't. And I told you that we had to be willing to give up some of those plays outside the numbers. And so I told the team that, that was what going in, that we were going to make them hit them. And they probably hit too many, but again, we'll be okay.
Probably hit too many. That was Mike Vrabel after the Dolphins game. Probably hit too many, Mark? Are you kidding me right now? First of all.
Yeah, go ahead. Go on a rant. Go ahead, because you've been dying to talk about this.
First of all, you allowed Tua 26 of 32 for 315 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay? And the interception at the end was right to Mapu at the last. Joe highlighted that on the post game when it went to Mapu. He didn't even want to give Mapu credit for it. I don't blame you, okay? Because he threw it right to him. Tua's a stiff, okay? He's a stiff. That guy missed so many goddamn throws. How about those, Mike? How about the throws that Tua missed last week? That there were guys sitting wide open. Don't talk to me about outside the numbers. I don't want to hear about, we're not going to be the first team. Don't get so goddamn defensive standing there trying to answer a question when you know your suck bag friggin' off defense allowed anything Tua wanted during that game. Don't talk to me about how he got stops. They got 50 penalties on friggin' defense on the offense, did the Miami Dolphins last week, where they kept screwing themselves over and over and over, or else you lose that game. Period. End of story. Your tackling stunk. The big plays that you just continue to give up. They gave up 9 for over 20 against the Raiders, and I don't know how many against Miami. But there were guys just sitting wide open, Mark, in the middle of the damn field. Hill was open. Waddle was open. It wasn't just outside the numbers. How about give Greg Bedard an answer for what the hell happened to the middle of your field that looked like a 7-on-7 drill. I've never seen so much green, open green, in the middle of the damn field. I bitch about Tavai and Bentley and these guys. Spillane and Ellis sucked in that game. They stunk.
Yeah.
In the middle of that field. Trying to cover guys. Flat foot reads, safeties taking bad angles, to say nothing about tackling. You stiff. And to give that kind of stupid ass, I gave him a little bit of a pass in week 1. When he basically threw the offensive coordinator under the bus, and he basically gave the defense a pass saying, you can't have 3 outs in a row and then only come up with 3 points, which is true. But you also can't have 9 plays for over 20 yards, a 3rd and 20, a 3rd and 11 for a touchdown. You can't have that either, can you, Mark, against the Raiders? And then against the Dolphins, I know, I'm on a rant. I'm sorry, but, no, I'm not sorry.
Go ahead.
And against the friggin' Dolphins, it was worse. It was worse against the Dolphins. Much, much worse. Not better. The middle of that damn field was ridiculously open. And if you do that crap today, if your middle plays that bad today again, your safeties and your off-ball linebackers play that poorly again today, Rodgers will pick your asses apart all day long. That's it.
I'll say this, Chris. When he said that last week, when we were doing the post game, you said, "Oh my God, stop being so apologetic for your defense. Are you kidding me?" And that's really what he was doing, right? Come on, just say they had a bad game. We got stuff we got to clean up, right? Yeah. I'm not going to go on a rant like you, because I think you said it all. You said everything that needed to be said, but.
No, we're not the only team. We're not going to be the only team that allows plays like that.
Right?
Tommy and Gina did it too. Tommy did it too. Why can't I do it? Like what?
Hey, let me ask you this: Did they contain Hill though?
He had over 100 yards receiving, Joe.
So
he didn't score a touchdown, but he had over 100 yards receiving.
He had 6 catches for 109 yards.
That's
and Joe Tua missed him a couple of times, overthrew him a couple of once. He was open in the seam. He missed. He didn't see it. He didn't see him. Hill probably could have had 150 yards, Joe, receiving in that game. Probably. So he didn't score a touchdown, but he should have had another 40 or 50 yards receiving on top of that. So, I don't know. Waddle had a touchdown. I'm going to tell you what, Chris. I will make this prediction today. Today, DK Metcalf will split the seam and score a touchdown for 30 or 40 yards, maybe a little more. He will split the seam and score a touchdown today, DK Metcalf. That's my prediction today.
Can't play cover 2 against him.
No. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put 2 safeties in the middle of the field and he'll just go right through that seam all day.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen today. At least once, DK is going to get one on you if they play the same style of defense.
And you're not going to be able to lock up on them, man on.
Well, we don't know the inactives, so we don't know if Gonzalez is playing. They haven't come out yet. I mean, it's still early it's still early. They won't come out until an hour before game time. So let's see if he plays. But if he doesn't play, Chris, you're going to be hampered by just the other side of that field.
Because Davis didn't have a great game either, and he's the guy in the Raiders game that allowed that 3rd and 20. That's stiff of a play. Yeah. So I mean, Yeah, and they have other guys too. They have Pittsburgh got other receivers too besides Metcalf that can hurt you. And so again, I just and let's not forget they're coming off a battle. They're coming off a loss to Seattle.
Pittsburgh's coming off a bad week, Chris. So
that 31. They coming off a 31-17 loss, but. Listen, I'm going to give you a name.
Pittsburgh, Chris, should be able to run the ball better than they've been running it too. So your defense, listen, bottom line, Chris, your defense just has to play better, right? Your defense is going to play better.
What do you do?
End the story.
Step up to pressure Rodgers, because once he gets pressured, he kind of was like Brady in that sense, where if you give him enough pressure, he kind of falls apart.
I'll tell you who else you're going to have to look out for, Chris, is the tight end. Pittsburgh has that tight end. Smith, but they got the other guy.
Farmouth.
Listen, Chris, he's one of those guys that gets in the middle of the field and just sits there 10 yards, 12 yards, 10 yards, 12 yards. Listen.
Yeah, kind of like what a Gesicki used to do to us, or what that other tight end that Pittsburgh used to have would do to us.
Yes.
Where they would just kind of get open and sit there.
Spillane is going to have a better game this week, Chris, today. He's going to play better today. Or the tight end's going to beat us too. Defensively,
we can't play worse. I can't imagine him playing worse than he played last week.
No.
But Joe, but to Joe's point, okay, about the pass rush against Rodgers, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Joe, because I have not been impressed with our front 4. I'm not talking about what happens when we run games in there, twists and stunts, and we bring extra guys and we bring in corner pressure and safety pressure and disguising it, dropping. I'm talking about Milton Williams, Christian Bonmore, Chason, and Landry. I'm talking about these 4 guys. Forget Keon White. That's stiff, too.
Spent a lot of money, Chris.
Undisclosed illness.
Chris, we spent a lot of money on that side of the ball in the offseason.
Well, we said Milton Williams is never going to live up to the contract. Everybody out there who thinks that he's going to play to that contract, forget it. I mean, they've got to be able to get to beat this team today. Okay. Joe is 1,000% right. You've got to be able to get pressure on Rodgers with 4, and they should be able to do that because he's not mobile. He doesn't move. There's nothing, you can take a chance. You can take a little risk, a little chance of on your wide 9 outside pass rushes where you're coming on that 90-degree angle and you get a little bit further upfield just to gain a little more torque to get around, okay? You can get away with that with Rodgers not sneaking underneath it as much, you know? But if they can't get, if they have to resort to a lot of blitz packages, man-to-man coverage, those kinds of things in order to get pressure on Rodgers, they're in trouble. They're going to be in trouble in this game. And it isn't going to be Metcalf that hurts them. It's going to be, like you said, it's going to be Fairmouth. It's going to be Jonnu Smith. Don't forget him either. Yeah. So, you know, they've got to get the safety spot solved too.
Well, last week, Chris, they tried to use Duggar. Duggar played more, started last week. I think he might have started last week, Duggar.
I think he started. He did start.
But, you know, but then that, you know, and then they brought Mapu in and they started bringing guys in. But yeah, they got the safety position, Chris, is going to be something that's going to hamper them all year long because it's just a position that was poorly managed in the offseason. And they didn't okay, yeah, they drafted the kid, Woodson, but he's not a center field safety. They didn't draft one of those. They didn't bring one in free agency. You know, so.
And I think he can be. I think Woodson could turn into that. I think he can eventually be that. One of my bigger problems too with the safeties in this situation is how bad the middle is. The off-ball linebacker spot's still a huge problem. See, when you have guys like Philadelphia has, okay, that can, you know, what's that guy's name there that play starts with a B, the last name, and then you got Dean and the other company over there. Anyway, when you have middle linebackers like that can move sideline to sideline, your safety it just alleviates so much for the safeties because it takes another beat. It takes another half beat for the quarterback to get to the next read. And now either the pressure gets home or the safeties catch up on the route, you know? And you don't have that. I mean, you saw what happened with Spillane, how many times that the tight end and the running backs were just, I think it was a running back more so than anything last week with Miami, where the back would just go by him and he'd sit flat foot. And when Tavai did that, I would scream at him. So I'm screaming at Spillane over it. And I like Spillane. But you got to be better than that. And you said this when we got him. You said, I don't know what people are expecting from this guy.
Yeah.
What did you say? You said, but he's not.
He's not. Listen, he's not a sideline linebacker. Is he Is he a better or faster than what we have or had? Yeah, he is. But he's not Nakobe Dean. He's not Warner. He's not one of these. He's not one of those guys, right, Chris? We said that. And after 2 weeks, he's not. So that's, we were right in that assessment of him. So we'll see this week, today, what he does today. I don't know. He's going to play better today, Chris. He has to.
If the middle of the field's open like that today, then it's not even going to be Metcalf that bothers you. It's going to be the tight ends, the backs. They're going to just destroy you in the middle of that field, and Rodgers will pick you apart all day long. You're not going to fool him, I mean,
well, that's the other thing, Chris. You're not going to be able to fool him with disguises or zone. Like he's not Tua. If he sees something, he'll exploit it. Tua missed guys last week wide open. That's not going to happen today, Chris. Rodgers knows what he's seeing. Now, he doesn't have the physical ability anymore to do what he once did, but he still has his mind and his brain, and he knows what he's going to see. And if he thinks he can exploit the middle of the field, he will.
Yeah, you're not gonna just tee off and run the same kind of pressure packages you did against Geno. So put it this way: look at what happened when you blitzed Geno Smith in week 1. When you came after him with that much pressure.
That's a good point, Chris. Good point.
Geno Smith destroyed you, picked your ass apart.
Good point.
What the hell do you think Rodgers is going to do now? Again, like Mark said, he's hampered in his physical abilities to be able to move around in the pocket as much as well. But he can still shift. He can still step up. He can still slide in the pocket and do those kinds of things. So their front four is going to have to play well, to Joe's point. And to Mark's point, the middle of the field better play a lot friggin' better, because outside, because if you got a middle of the field playing better, you could do some things against Metcalf to take him away.
I also have a funny feeling today, Chris. They're gonna run the ball on us.
Well, that's the other problem too. And if Miami, didn't do it enough, but Mark, Miami ran the ball, last week they only rushed the ball they only ran for 61 yards. So it was, but they didn't try. They had 15 attempts.
They didn't
15
try.
carries for 61 yards. I mean, they were
didn't try.
averaging 4 yards a carry.
They didn't try it. Yes.
We're small. There's going to be a team we're going to play that's going to exploit. Well, watch what Baltimore does to us.
Oh, Baltimore's going to kick our face in. They're just going to run the ball down our throat. Yeah.
So, there's a lot of things to have to improve on today, but that's the thing. And situationally, my God, okay. Special teams.
Oh.
You've got to get the penalty solved. You've got to get the special teams better. You've got to get the kicker to get his head out of his ass. Maybe that 53-yard kick that he made in Miami.
Maybe it'll straighten him out. Maybe it'll give him confidence now.
Maybe straighten them out. But as soon as he made that 53-yard kick, what did he do? He had a kick. He had an illegal
on the kickoff.
He had an illegal kick and put him on the 40-yard line. The fool.
How do you do that, Chris?
So that's it, Joe. Warm up your leg. Get over to New England and start kicking, will you please?
Joe's had some words of wisdom this week, Chris. He had that great take on Rodgers. Hey,
why is he so surprised by that, Joe?
I don't know. I can never get a word in. That's why.
Well, Chris, is Joe at the game today? Joe, are you at the game?
I was. It was close to being there.
He's going to the Jets game.
No.
Again.
He's going to the Jets game, and he's taking his friend, the Jets fan.
Yes, I think he might be a closet Jets fan, Joe.
I think he is.
Oh, my God.
Joe's
a Jets fan.
I'll lean back on the Niners.
So those are our keys to victory, offensive and defensively. So let's see if we are right. Let us know in Heated Hotline. But Pat's preview was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal. Are we a Corso with a Catone or Corso Law Group, Joe? You tell me.
Let me just play it.
The real deal New England field. What does that mean? We're like you. We're going to bitch about everything.
My opinion, our draft, the good, the bad, it was ugly.
These people, Mark, drive me freaking insane. Bananas.
It's so frustrating and aggravating. I can't take it.
The real deal New England field. It's going to be real. Back in with more Pats Nation. So that was, yes, it was presented by Corso and Catone. Thank you, Joe, for being impatient with me as always. He's pissed at you, Mark, because you keep cutting him off, and he has such great points.
Tell him to listen. I'm not the one who went on the rant this week. That was you. I've been calm this week. I'm good.
You have been calm this week. What the hell is that all about? I don't understand that. Well. I had
a little bit of a Bloody Mary, but maybe this morning.
Okay, well that's good. That's a calm Mark is always a good thing, especially on driving on the road. I'm not suggesting you have a Bloody Mary before you drive.
No. Listen, I'm getting ready for the game.
All right. Well, something we need to go also get ready for is Sunday spread, and we're gonna try to make you people some money. And as always, Joe's gonna scare me with this damn thing. I never know when it's coming, and it scares the hell out of me every time he does it for some reason. You know what it is? It's like the Pied Piper. I always say it. Hearing that music, I want to get up and just like a zombie, just go right to just get in the car and drive to the casino. All right, guys. Mark, how'd you do last week?
I did very well, Chris, because my lock of the day was Baltimore. They covered. I said Detroit will get healthy at home against Ben Johnson, and they did. They won easy. Those are my two big plays last week, Chris, for those two games. And my other game last week, I said if you wanted to do a teaser, I said to throw Carolina in, I believe. I might have said throw Carolina in, which they didn't do so well. But my two best bets won this last week. They won, both my best bets.
I don't know what the hell my lock was. I don't even remember.
I don't remember. I don't even remember what you did. But I do know
because I lost it. I just don't remember it for some reason.
Yeah, I don't remember. But I think you did like Detroit too, though, Chris, last week. You agreed with me with Detroit, and you agreed with Baltimore. You did agree.
I actually picked the Chiefs.
You did.
So anyway, but okay, let's get to this week. So first, let's talk about our game, 1.5. So what do you see happening? Give me a score of our game.
Our game?
Yes.
Now, just for the record, you had us last week after the Raiders game. You had us going 2 weeks ago 0-5.
I did.
And then we beat Miami. Now this week, If we win this week at home, we go to 2-1, Chris. 2-1.
That's good. You did that quick.
That did take much, did it? Okay. Final score today.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. 27-17 Pittsburgh.
Because the defenses show the defense showed you that they're not going to.
Chris, I just don't. You made the best point of the day when you compared Geno Smith, and you said, "Mark, what do you think Rodgers is going to do to this team if Geno Smith exploited them in the back end?" And that was a great point, Chris. Because of what do you think Rodgers is going to do to this team today?
Yeah,
defensively, unless our defense steps up. I hope I'm wrong. I hope our defense steps up and has a great game and we win. But the way the defense has played the last 2 weeks, Chris, Rodgers was going to beat you today. I picked Pittsburgh.
I'm picking Pittsburgh too. I'm picking 31-21 is going to be the final. And so Pittsburgh, they'll cover that. So let's get to some other games. Let's get to our locks of the week. Mark, what do you have?
So one of my locks this week, Chris, I'm going to pick, and it's crazy, but, you're going to think I'm a little crazy, but I'm going to take Mac Jones if he's playing. It's a game-time decision. He could be playing for Purdy. They haven't decided what they're doing with Purdy yet. I'm going to take San Francisco at home. Getting points. They're getting a point, I think, from Arizona at home. I'm going to take – I love San Fran at home. San Fran has played well, even with injuries, Chris. I'm going to take San Fran because I don't believe in Arizona. I really don't. So I'm going to take them. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to take at home, Chris, because I think New Orleans might be the worst team in football. I don't know how Seattle's only like 6.5-point favorites at home. I'm going to take Seattle because I think New Orleans is the worst team in football.
New
Orleans may not win it.
Actually, 7.5.
I had 6.5, but 7.5. New Orleans may not win a game all year, Chris. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll start with those two games. What do you like?
For me, I'm looking at that Vegas, the Raiders and the Washington game. Okay, so I had and let me just I want to double check the line. I get my lines at the DraftKings. But anyway, 6.5. Washington at home against the Raiders. Listen, I understand. Well, we had a real good look at the Raiders. I just think Washington's a better team. I see them winning by double digits in that game. So I like Washington against the Raiders at home. And then the other game that I like is this. Well, there are two games I like. Now, this one you're going to probably be surprised with. But Atlanta at Carolina. Now, that's a game, I don't know. People probably just don't even want to touch that or go near it or even bother with it. But for me, Carolina is getting points at home. I don't think Carolina is as junk of a team as people think. I think the quarterback got frustrated in week 1 a little bit over there. But I think at home, if it were 3.5, but under 3 points, if it stays at under 3 points, Carolina, I'm taking Carolina at home in that one. Anything else you like?
Well, I'll tell you this. I think Green Bay, Chris, might be one of the best. I realize they lost Jalen Reed. The wide receiver is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks, but I think Cleveland stinks. Joe Flacco stinks. Green Bay's defense is so good. I'm going to tease Green Bay. Green Bay's favored in that game, but I'm going to tease him. Okay. I'm going to tease Green Bay with San Francisco and with Seattle. I'm going to add Green Bay into that, and I'm going to do a 3-team teaser with those 3 teams. So Seattle would basically be a pick game. They might even be getting a point. San Fran will be getting like 9 points. And Green Bay will basically become a pick game. That's what I would do. I'd do a 3-team tease at that point.
And again, with these teasers, listen. I hit them every week. Like,
No, you do.
I hit like 5.
How
6
have you been
teasers.
doing, Chris, with the in-game? In-game plays.
I haven't really got much into that.
Haven't gotten that yet.
But it is something that you could definitely do if you're betting in game. If you have the ability to watch all the games, like you see behind me, games going on and all that. If you have the ability to do that, yeah, you could definitely make some hay. I mean, because nothing more like than the NFL. You feel it. Like you feel when a team starts to go on a drive, and you just feel the flow of the game, and you feel like, okay, this is they're going to score on this drive. You just know it. You feel it. And if you could stay on top of it and bet in game like that, it's definitely worth it. But I think a lot of the teasers, I've been hitting a lot of those, and I'm hitting like 4, 5, 16 teasers because some of the points they're always so close.
Yeah.
I mean, if a game is a 3.5 point spread, it's usually comes in there 3 to 4, somewhere in there. So when you obviously the odds are not as good, but when you can manipulate the line that way, and I'm looking for that Rams. I'm looking for that Rams Philly game. Hold on, that's who they got today, right? Rams playing Philly.
Rams are playing Philly today, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, 4.5. That's a game. So I like that game. And even in our game.
What do you like in that game?
Philly.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like Philly even with the 4.5. But if you're going to take that line somewhere, take it the other way. Take that line to go Philly getting points now, getting 2 points from the Rams, at home. When you can maneuver a situation like that, you could do that with Philly. You could do it with Carolina, where now Carolina is bumped up to like 8 points. 8-9 points, there hasn't been too many ass whippings either. So some of these games are fairly close, so you if you could pull a line over 10 points, you're in good shape there. And again, I like Washington. You're teasing that down to 6. You're teasing it down to a pick, basically, because did you know now on the teases you can do on like DraftKings, for example, you can do a 6-point tease, a 6.5 point, a 7 point, just the odds go different. You just, you don't make as much, but you can't be as much of a pig.
When you put 20,000 down, when you're putting 20 grand down, what does it matter?
Right. So those are the picks, I think. Joe, I mean, who you like you haven't picked the Patriots game today. I know you've picked it all season long, but what do you think?
No, I had the Steelers winning today, but I think after last week, they're going to keep it close. Like I said, I wanted to swap all my predictions out because I think I muffed them up. But I think the Steelers might squeak by this win, and it's going to be a similar game as the last week with Miami, but we'll be on the losing end, unfortunately.
Still going to be sweating it out.
Yeah.
Chris, I want us to close out with a little bit of a rant from you. Mm-hmm. Listen, those are our Sunday spreads. Take them, make money with them. But I wanted you to close out on a little rant. We didn't talk about this week. We forgot. But Jalen Polk got traded for a 6th-round pick. And we didn't, instead of taking McConkey, I'll let you close with that.
It's just another example, okay? You had to do it. He had to do it, Joe. So,
listen, you got to be quick. We're against the clock.
It's just another goddamn example of why Elliot Wolf, that little weasel, get rid of that guy. Get that guy, that weasel, out of that friggin' building. Every single thing that guy has touched has turned to crap. Jalen Polk, I told you that. Oh, he's the number 3 quarterback, number 3 wide receiver coming out of Washington. Number 3 coming out of that crap shit division over there. For the Washington Huskies, or whatever they call themselves up there, those fools, instead of Lad McConkey. So now you got Polk gone, Baker gone. I'm disgusted. Enough. The Pats Nation was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal New England Field Saturdays. We're going to have our breakdown of the Steelers game along with Catone's comments and so much more. So come back next weekend to this show where we're going to have our pregame breakdown of the Patriots-Panthers game. Hopefully it's going for 3 wins. Let's hope, as we are the first pregame show of the day. So make sure you enjoy all the games today. We are the Pats Nation. So long.